Blade and Sorcery is, in my opinion, one of the best VR games you could get for the past 6 years on PC VR and the past 3 years on the standalone experience. And because I've spent over 350 hours in the game, I've put together a list of 5 things I love about it, and if this video hits 200 likes, I'll make another talking about the 5 things I hate about Blade and Sorcery. When I say this game is realistic, I really mean it, but some might think I mean the game is unrecognizable from real life, and that is not the case. It's a video game and your mileage can vary because of things like hardware or platform differences, but you have to admit that the game feels and handles super well, and once you get used to the controls, you can immerse yourself in it so much better than other VR titles because of small things like you can see your body, objects don't clip into other objects, and most of it is actually physically there. Every object has pretty realistic physics and handles as you would expect, although the weight of objects could be wonky at times. Armor and weapons work the way they're supposed to, and my favorite part about the game is the physics-based combat and the awesome engine that was built for this game. Because of how the game feels, you can really immerse yourself in all things it has to offer. Wanna just screw around or test some things? Jump into Sandbox and choose from various different maps, choose whatever enemy wave and its intensity to fight against, or just set up an outpost or a Dalgarian dungeon run to your liking. Want something more linear and with a lore-filled story? Jump into the new Crystal Hunt game mode, choose whatever background you want and level up, loot, trade, and kill everything in your sight. Or do you just wanna mindlessly fight waves of enemies and try to stay alive as long as possible? Jump into survival, choose a random weapon out of the 3 and go to town. There is honestly so much content, and because the devs made everything more open-ended rather than linear, you can really play and enjoy the game the way you want the most. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't so many games specifically made for exercise, because there's even more. But for someone like me, who has to have a really good reason to do something for himself, buying and playing an exercise game is pretty much impossible because I won't do it in my free time and I won't record it for content. Blade and Sorcery, on the other hand, is a really fun game to play, and I'm lucky enough to have an audience waiting for new videos. So going to record for a video is usually a great way to get me moving for an hour or so. And yes, you could give it as least amount of effort as possible and probably would still do fine, but if you're really trying to fight and move around, it gets your heart going really well, because thanks to the variety in combat, you can fight enemies without weapons, sword fight, or use brutal blunt weapons or axes, or even fight from a distance with bows. And once you get tired of using weapons, switch to magic and enjoy playing with gravity, fire, or electricity, or use both weapons and magic, and with the 1.0 update, you can even add over 70 skills into the mix, making everyone's fighting style unique. I'm not sure how much the developers will support the game after it fully released not that long ago, because they said they want to focus on other projects and will probably not receive new content, only some bug fixes or hardware updates in the future. But beside that, I do have to say the devs have done an amazing job not just creating the game, but taking care of it and taking care of its players with so many updates, patches, bug fixes, new hardware implementations, and a huge support to the modding community, which they gave so many tools to create or update new mods. Even things like scripting implementation into Nomad, which is now built in the 1.0 update, and you don't need a different version. Honestly, huge props to the guys and gals at Warfrog for creating such a masterpiece and not trying to rip us off with hundreds of microtransactions and new content hidden behind a paywall. There's a lot of good modding communities out there, some keeping pretty old games alive to this day, and Blade and Sorcery seems like it will become one of those. There's pretty much new mods uploaded daily, many of which get patched and updated for months, some even for years. And although there's a lot of similar mods, we have gotten some crazy things over the years, like a Star Wars remake with so much content, it turns Blade and Sorcery into a whole new game, or the many different characters you can roleplay as, like Marvel or anime characters, or even the crazy weapons like the Mystic Side that transforms the way you fight, and so much more that I could probably talk about it for days. Or you can just watch my other videos or my short series in which I showcase the coolest and most helpful mods I can find. I honestly love this community and hope the game will survive for many years to come, which you can help by supporting the modders through donations or just sharing their mods with as many people as possible, because they are now the main source of new content. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Huge thanks to my members, and to you, my viewers. Subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one.